Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of the Murder and Me podcast, where we dive into some of the most captivating true crime stories. I'm your host, Jorge Magarin, and I'm thrilled to kick off our journey with a gripping tale that's sure to keep you on the edge of your seat. Today, we're diving into the infamous case of Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander. This story isn't just about a crime. It's a roller coaster ride involving love, lust, and betrayal. Picture this, a whirlwind romance tainted by secrets, with twists and turns that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. But hold on to your hats, because this tale isn't just about a murder. It's a tangled web of sex, religion, and passion. From forbidden desires to religious convictions, we'll unravel the complexities of human nature and the lengths that some will go to satisfy their darkest cravings. So, buckle up and get ready to be drawn into a world where the lines between love and obsession blur, and the consequences are deadly. This is Murder and Me, and the story of Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander is just the beginning. Travis Alexander was born on June 28, 1977. He had a rough childhood with his 7 siblings, as his parents were addicted to drugs and often physically abused them. Travis mentioned how his mother fell asleep for 4 days and basically left him and his siblings to fend for themselves. Sometimes they didn't even have a choice but to eat rotten food. At around 10 years old, Travis moved to live with his grandparents. They were members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and they introduced him the Mormon Church. His whole life turned around because of that. From then, he became a devoted Mormon and was very involved with the community. After high school, Travis went on to a 2-year mission trip to Denver, Colorado. And after completing his mission in Denver, Travis returned to his hometown when he then joined Prepaid Legal Services, Inc., or PPL. This decision marked a significant turning point in his professional life. A natural-born salesman, Travis became a rising star at PPL. He wasn't just a salesman and a recruiter, but also a motivational speaker. Travis then moved to Mesa, Arizona in 2004, drawn not only by his career opportunities and proximity to family, but also by the presence of a larger Mormon community. And as a devoted member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or LDS Church, Travis sought to immerse himself into a community that shared his faith and values. In 2006, Travis Alexander was gearing up to attend a PPL conference in Las Vegas, where he was scheduled to speak. This event presented an exciting opportunity for Travis to share his insights and expertise with fellow attendees. Jodi Arias was born in Salinas, California on July 9, 1980. She had a pretty regular childhood with her parents, William and Sandra Arias, but things took a sharp turn when she was caught growing weed by her parents in the 8th grade. They were so shocked that they called the cops on her. Despite her parents describing her as a bright and creative person, her father expressed concerns about potential bipolar disorders due to her mood swings. Additionally, reports surfaced of Jodi displaying verbal abuse towards her mother, further complicating their relationship. Jodi developed an interest in photography during her teenage years. It was during this time that she began exploring the art form, finding solace and creative expression behind the lens of a camera. Photography became a passion for Jodi, providing her with the means to capture and interpret the world around her. In 2006, Jodi was living with an older boyfriend, but she was having financial problems. Looking for something different to better herself, she had heard about PPL and thought maybe that's what she should be doing next with her life. So she decided to go to Las Vegas for the conference. At this convention, Travis and Jodi had their initial encounter, which many witnesses described as an instant connection. They found each other irresistible. After the conference ended, Travis and Jodi exchanged contact information, setting the stage for further communication and connection. They returned to their respective homes in Mesa and California, but their interactions didn't end there. Jodi goes back to her boyfriend, but just a mere week after meeting Travis, Jodi breaks up with her long-term relationship. As their relationship progressed, Travis and Jodi's communication deepened, with an astonishing volume of over 80,000 emails exchanged between them. And after only 2 months of talking, Jodi begins to fall for Travis from afar. And because Travis was a Mormon, on November 26, 2006, Jodi chose to be baptized into the Mormon Church, and Travis did the honors of baptizing her. On February 2nd, 2007, Jodi and Travis make their long-distance relationship official. Since they both lived 1,000 miles apart, they would meet up in different cities and would go out on trips together. Even though they were both Mormons, and they have to follow the law of chastity, which meant no sex until marriage. They were breaking that rule and were having sex. Even before they were official, they were already having a physical relationship. The problem was Jodi didn't realize that by doing this, she was lowering her chances of getting married to him, in his eyes, based on his Mormon standards. This is why on June 29th, 2007, Travis breaks up with Jodi. Throughout the relationship, Jodi was living in California, while Travis was living in Arizona. Not so long after the breakup, Jodi did what most people wouldn't do after breaking up with someone. Jodi moved to Mesa, Arizona to be closer to Travis. Her excuse was that she wanted to be more involved with her Mormon faith, and there was a larger community than there was in Southern California. At first, Travis wasn't too happy to hear that she moved to Mesa, but despite his initial objection and telling his friends she wasn't marriage material and wanted her out of his life, Travis finds it hard to get away from her. They can't seem to stay away from each other. Travis says that Jodi is his kryptonite, and they continue having sex. Even though they're not dating, they're maintaining a physical relationship, which goes against their Mormon beliefs. They begin hiding this relationship from families and friends. Jodi keeps falling in love with Travis more and more, even though it is apparent that he only wants her for physical relationship. At this point, the relationship becomes even more toxic. They're in a cycle of on again and off again. One day they're together and having sex, then the next day they're having really heated arguments, or Travis is taking another girl on a date. Travis is living a double life, seeing Jodi in secret and having sex with her, but in public he says that he doesn't want anything to do with her and leaving the Mormon beliefs. In December 2007, Travis started seeing another woman from their church. This probably made Jodi even more upset. Jodi was so jealous that she slashed his tires on his vehicle, not once, but twice. She started breaking into his house. One time she even crawled through the dog door. Travis's new girlfriend was being harassed too. She received an email from an anonymous account, which led him to suspect that Jodi was behind it. This relationship didn't last long, and by January 2008, Travis and Jodi kept their sexual relationship going in secret. Jodi would send Travis sexual text messages showing they were still intimate, and at the same time, Travis acted like he was single, seeing other women. He also continued to portray himself as a devout Mormon in public, even though his private actions didn't match up with his image. This made their relationship even more complicated and kept it hidden from others. In March 2008, Travis and Jodi traveled together to other states, such as Oklahoma and Texas. And by going on these trips, they didn't have to hide their relationship while they were away. This allowed them to spend time together openly without the need for secrecy or concealing their feelings for each other. In April 2008, Jodi reached a breaking point. She was tired of sneaking around with Travis and feeling like he didn't care about her as much as she cared about him. Plus, seeing him with other women made her jealous. So she made a tough choice to move back to California from Arizona, putting an end to their secret hookups once again. Travis told his friends that he was looking forward to the future now that Jodi had gone back to California. He even posted on his blog saying, "This year will be the best year of my life. This is the year that will be better than all of the others. I will earn more, I will learn more, travel more, surf more, love more, give more, and be more than all of the other years of my life combined." It showed that he was feeling positive and excited about what lay ahead. But by April 20th, 2008, they're back texting each other. Travis sends text to Jodi, "I am at a nightclub right now, and he helped me to come to the conclusion that you're one of the prettiest girls on the planet." The next day, he sends another text asking her for a naughty picture. Even though they kept trying to get away from each other, they just can't put an end to it. A few weeks later, on May 10, 2008, Jodi and Travis found themselves in a heated argument over text messages. Later that same day, Jodi posted her final entry on her vlog, expressing deep and complex emotions. In the blog she wrote, "I cannot ignore that there is an ever-present yearning and desire that pulses within me. It throbs for gratification and fulfillment." And on May 18, 2008, Travis posted his final entry on his blog, reflecting on the importance of dating with the intention of marriage. Their back and forth from arguing over text to posting deep thoughts over their blogs really shows the ups and downs of Travis and Jodi's relationship. It's like they were stuck in this cycle of fighting and then getting close again. Even though they tried to move on, they kept getting pulled back together. unable to let go completely. In May 28, 2008, police investigated a report that a .25 caliber gun was stolen from Jodi's grandparents' home in California. The gun was never recovered. In June 2008, Travis shared with his friends that he thought Jodi hacked into his Facebook account. Feeling fed up with her intrusions into his personal space, Travis firmly tells Jodi to stay away from his life. Also, by early June, Travis is planning to go on a work trip, all included, to Cancun. He plans on taking a new love interest he was seeing, Mimi Hall. The two have gone on a few dates, but Mimi just wants to be friends. His plan was basically to try to win her over while at Cancun. He wanted Mimi to see him in his element and see how great of a guy he was. A few of Travis's friends went to Cancun a few days early, and they've been texting him about what they, Travis and Mimi, can do while there. Travis was not responding to any of the text messages. Then Travis missed a conference call he was supposed to run. Nobody can reach him or has seen him in several days. At the same time, Mimi is getting concerned because they're supposed to be leaving to Cancun the next day. So on June 9th, 2008, a few of his friends and Mimi Hall went to Travis's house. They knocked on the door, but nobody answered. Travis rented 2 of his bedrooms at his house. One of the roommates was in his room, and they were able to get in contact with him. The roommate said he thought Travis was in Mexico already, and Mimi Hall told him that he's not, since she was supposed to go with him. So the roommate grabs a spare key to Travis's master bedroom and opens the door. Once the door opens, this awful smell comes out. They walk in the room, and they see blood on the floor. Worried about what he's seen, the friend walks towards the master bathroom down the hall. There, he found Travis is dead on the floor inside his stand-up shower. A state of advanced decomposition suggested that he had been dead for several days. A great amount of blood was discovered on the floor, the carpets, on the walls, the hallway, the bathroom, the sink. Besides the bathroom and the bathroom, the rest of the house was in normal condition, so the roommate didn't notice anything. Everyone frantically leaves the room and call 911. There was no sign of forced entry, and the sheets on the bed were removed. Police ultimately determined that Travis had been shot in the right brow with a .25 caliber gun. The bullet was found lodged in his left cheek, and that he had been stabbed 27 times. Someone had also cut his throat from ear to ear, almost decapitating him. Investigators found several vital clues inside Alexander's bedroom and bathroom. A spent .25 caliber shell casing was located on the floor near the sink, and a hair and a small Latin handprint in blood were found near the entrance to the bathroom hall. Also, a digital camera was found in the washing machine in the downstairs laundry room. The camera appeared to have been run through the wash cycle with some towels. Also, the pictures on the memory card had been deleted. When questioned by the police, Travis's friends and family members all mentioned the obsessed, crazy ex-girlfriend, Jodi. Sky Hughes, one of Travis's close friends, said, "Jodi was totally obsessed with him. She wouldn't let him go. Whenever he would try to sever all ties, she would threaten to kill herself. He would tell her he didn't want anything to do with her, and she would just show up at his house." Hours after Travis's body was found, Jodi contacted the Mesa police. She told them she was really good friends with Travis and wanted to offer any assistance. She asked them if they knew when the incident happened. She wanted to know what kind of weapon was used. The detectives felt like they were getting interviewed by her. She also tells them that she hasn't seen Travis since she moved back to California, but they did text a few times. The detectives told her that Travis's friends kept mentioning her, that she probably knows what happened, that her and Travis has had a fatal attraction. Jodi denies ever being in Arizona or close to there the night that Travis was murdered. She basically talked herself to the top of the suspect list. On June 22nd, 2008, Jodi rents a car from Budget Rent-A-Car in Redding, California. She was going on a road trip to Salt Lake City for a PPL conference. There she was also going to meet with her new love interest, Ryan Burns. On June 5th, 2008, Jodi arrived in Salt Lake City and visits Ryan. The drive from Northern California to Utah took Jodi 3 days to complete. Police asked her, why did it take 3 days to get to Utah? And Jodi told them that she stopped to visit some friends. Police talked to Ryan Burns, and he confirmed that Jodi came to see him. They hung out in their living room and they watched movies. She didn't seem like anything was bothering her or acting in any other weird way. The only difference was that a once stunning blonde, Jodi is not a brunette. She had dyed her hair. She also has some small cuts on her hand. Jodi tells the police that on June 7th, 2008, she returned her rental car and that was the extent of her road trip to Salt Lake City. A few days on June 13, 2008, after Travis's death, Jodi posted an album on her MySpace titled In Loving Memory of Travis. On June 17, 2008, Jodi went to the Mesa Police Headquarters and was voluntarily fingerprinted. She also gave investigators a sample of her saliva for DNA testing. Travis's friends were also fingerprinted, so it wasn't something out of the ordinary. While waiting for the lab test results to come back, investigators were notified that the forensic examiners were able to recover several shocking images, some of which had been deleted from the memory card on the camera found on Travis's washing machine. The deleted pictures were of Travis, naked in the shower. He appeared to be posing in some of the pictures. A picture of Travis looking directly at the camera. However, other photos which were dark and grainy, and some were of Travis, on the floor of the bathroom, bleeding profusely. On one of the pictures, you could see sort of a leg, and it looked as if the camera was dropped during the events and had gone off as it was falling. There were also pictures of Travis and Jodi in bed in the nude, posing in sexual poses. They had a whole photo shoot. All the pictures were time-stamped on the date as the murder happened, during the time Jodi drove from California to Salt Lake City. Based on the photos, an investigator wrote, Jodi was lying about not seeing Travis since April of 2008. This also proves that Jodi was the last person I can prove had contact with Travis prior to his death. On June 19, 2008, police contacted Jodi and questioned her about Travis's murder. Jodi stated she last saw Travis in April of 2008, a police officer wrote in a document to establish probable cause. She admitted that they had been seeing each other as boyfriend and girlfriend for over 5 months, but had officially broken up in June of 2007 after some jealousy issues on the part of both of them. After they broke up, they continued to have sexual relationships, but kept it quiet from people they knew. She said that she last spoke to Travis on Tuesday, June 3rd, 2008. Later that date, at 10:54 p.m., Jodi posted this message to her MySpace page. Mrs. Travis, see you soon, my friend, but not soon enough. On June 26, 2008, investigators were notified that the hair and a bloody print found inside of Alexander's home belonged to Jodi. DNA typing results also indicated that the bloody print was a mixture of Jodi's and Travis's DNA. The same day, Jodi attended a memorial service for Travis. So they now have evidence that places Jodi at the scene with blood on her hands. Within weeks, the police go to California, and on July 15, 2008, Mesa police detectives arrested Jodi at her Northern California home. Jodi was booked on suspicion of first-degree murder. While being interrogated, Jodi kept smiling and trying to be nice to the detectives. At first, Jodi denies that she had anything to do with it. They asked her about her trip to Utah. She said somehow she got lost on her way there. Detectives start focusing on this trip because, like I said earlier, it took her 3 days to get there. She got to Utah on a Thursday. Wednesday is when Travis was killed. The thing is, even if she slept for 10 hours, it will still leave about 18 hours unaccounted for. This is when the detectives told her that they have her blood at the scene. They have her hair. She also left a bloody handprint. And even with all of this, she has an answer for everything. She just kept her story that she was nowhere near Travis's house the night that the murder happened. At this point, the detective threw a bombshell at her. They have recovered all the pictures from the camera found inside the washing machine. They show her the pictures of Travis posted in the shower, and again, they're all time-stamped at around 5:30 p.m. Then he shows her a picture of her, naked, on Travis's bed. All she said is, "It looks like me." The next picture is of Travis naked with lubricant next to him. Even with all of this evidence and the timestamps, she uses the excuse that the pictures could be altered. Finally, the detectives show her a picture of herself during the murder. Even then, she keeps denying it. The detective is left with no other choice. He reads her rights and arrests her for the murder of Travis Alexander. He tells her she will be booked and photographed. And instead of being concerned about what's going to happen to her, Jodi's more worried about how she's going to look in the picture and asks the detective if she could get makeup so she can clean up. What she does next is some of the most bizarre behavior someone has done while being arrested. Once alone in the interrogation room, Jodi gets up from her chair, walks towards the wall, and does a headstand. She also starts singing "Oh Holy Night." Then she starts mumbling to herself, "Still hate me?" She chuckles, and then she says, "Brat." She doesn't know she's being recorded. They take her to take her picture, and she asks how her hair looks. Then for the picture, she tilts her head and gives a half grin. She smiles for her mugshot. The next day, They bring in a female detective so Jodi could maybe relate to her and open up. Instead, Jodi shuts down and only wanted to talk to Detective Flores. While talking to Detective Flores, she said she was ready to say everything she knew. This time, she was at Travis's house. She got there at around 3 a.m. They had sex and took those pictures in bed. When two people, a man and a woman dressed as ninjas in all black, broke into the house at night. These people were trying to assassinate Travis. She said she was hit in the head and knocked out. When she got up, she heard Travis yelling at her to get help. But the intruders got into her purse and already knew who she was and all her information. She fought one of these ninjas, the woman, and was able to get away, and that's how she got the cuts on her hands. When asked why she didn't call 911, she said she was scared that the ninjas were going to kill her. The intruders told her that if she ever said anything about it, they would kill her and her family. So she got in her car and drove to Salt Lake City and met with Ryan. On September 5, 2008, Jodi is extradited to Arizona. A public defender is later assigned to represent her. The prosecutor on the case decides to go for the death penalty. On September 11, 2008, Jodi pleads not guilty. In a jailhouse interview with Inside Edition, Jodi says, "No jury is going to convict me. I am innocent, and you can mark my words on that." At this time, the media runs wild with this story. The crazy girlfriend that kills the boyfriend. She's all over the news. And for the next year, Jodi decides to do interviews with anyone that wants to talk to her, telling everyone she's innocent. During these interviews, she came across as the soft-spoken girl that couldn't have possibly done this crime. On December 2010, Jodi beat out 50 other inmates to win an American Idol-style caroling contest for inmates held by America's toughest sheriff, Joe Arpaio, at the Maricopa County Jail. Her prize was a Christmas stocking full of goodies and a turkey dinner for herself and her cellmates. August 8, 2011, Jodi told Judge Cherry Stevens of Maricopa County Superior Court that she wanted to represent herself. Stevens granted the request but had Jodi's public defenders Victoria Washington and Kirk Nurmi remain on as an advisory counsel. August 16, 2011, a request to admit letters that Jodi claimed Travis sent to her prior to his death were denied. In the letters, Travis allegedly admitted to being a pedophile. The letters were forged. After the ruling, Jodi told the judge that she was over her head, so the judge reinstated her defense counsel. Jodi also changed her story for the third time to domestic violence defense. She claims that Travis attacked her the night of the murder, so she shot him after enduring sexual and physical abuse throughout their relationship. On January 2012, Jodi is assigned a new defense attorney after her old one filed to be taken off. On January 2nd, 2013, a whole year after that, Jodi's trial began, and people line up to see the Jodi Arias in person. People couldn't get enough of it. The sex, the religion, the beautiful couple, they were going crazy for this case. In the trial, the state pointed out that Jodi Arias gave different stories to the police before finally claiming self-defense. Martinez described Travis Alexander's murder as very violent. He mentioned that Travis was shot, stabbed in the heart, and has his throat cut out from one ear to the other. He mentioned how hard it would be to kill someone of Travis's size, even if it was for self-defense. Martinez also noted that Travis had wounds on his hands, showing he tried to defend himself. To stab someone 27 times and nearly decapitate them is not self-defense. They also found the shell of a .25 caliber casing. While pointing all of this, Jodi is covering her face and hiding behind her hair, crying. To emphasize Jodi's confidence, Martinez played a clip from a media interview where she said, "No jury will convict me." He asked the jury to remember her words as he wrapped up his opening statement. They also show the pictures of the murder, which are pretty brutal. Jodi said she shot him in the head and he kept attacking her, so that's why she stabbed him 27 times. But that wouldn't make any sense. He would have gone down immediately after being shot in the head. Jodi's grandparents testified that their .25 caliber gun was stolen on June 28, 2008, a week before the murder. According to the police report, a DVD player, a CD player, some cash, and the gun were taken. The gun was never found. In the defense team's opening statement, lawyer Jennifer Wilmot admitted that Jodi killed Travis. However, she emphasized the importance of understanding why Jodi did it. Wilmot said, "On the outside looking in, it really appeared like they were involved in a happy, loving, and healthy relationship. But nothing could be further from the truth. In reality, Jodi was Travis's dirty little secret." Wilmot claimed that Travis pressured Jodi into having sex in many different ways. She also mentioned that they would bring in an expert to talk about how Jodi experienced domestic violence in her relationship with Travis. Wilmot ended her statement by saying that Travis got angry when Jodi dropped his camera and she had to defend herself to survive. If she didn't defend herself, then she wouldn't have been alive today. The state called Mimi Hall to the stand. She said that Travis never did anything sexually inappropriate with her. She said they never kissed and only shared a hug. She said she felt very safe with Travis. She said Travis told her he was dealing with a female stalker that slashed his tires several times before, hacked into his emails, bank account, and social media. She would sneak into his house at night and sleep on his couch without him knowing she was there. Then Jodi's ex-boyfriend coming to the stand. He said she was a loving and caring person. He said that she had a great relationship with his son. He did a good job humanizing Jodi to the jury. He also said that before she left for her trip, she stopped by his house and borrowed 2 cans of gas from him, which is strange. California is full of gas stations, so why would she need 2 cans? The state cross-examined him and say that they checked a bunch of receipts from her road trip from California to Salt Lake City during the time of the murder. Jodi never stopped for gas in Arizona, even though she spent a whole day there. Instead, she used the gas cans, as if to say that she was never in Arizona. That proves that this was premeditated, which also proves first-degree murder. She also turned off her phone while she was there, so it wouldn't ping. One of the questions everyone was asking themselves was, would Jodi Arias take the stand? Is she going to tell us what actually happened? And on the 4th day, Jodi walks into the courtroom and starts walking towards the stands. And the room was electrifying. She says she did kill Travis on June 4th, 2008. He attacked her, and she defended herself. Jodi said on the day she got baptized as a Mormon, her and Travis went back to her house and had anal sex. She said it's not something she really wanted, but she didn't stop him. This combines sex and religion. The defense also shows sexual messages between Jodi and Travis. On one of them, Travis tells Jodi, "You're the ultimate slut in bed." He also called her a whore, and her sole purpose in life is to be mine, to have animal sex with, and please me in any way I desire. Jodi was acting as she was humiliated. I mean, it's not easy talking about your sexual life in front of everyone, but she acted as if she didn't want to participate in the sex acts. She said Travis will call her a bitch and worthless. He also called her a 3-hole wonder and a slut. According to the jurors, this relationship clearly had emotional and mental abuse. The defense is trying to portray Travis as a bad person because of his sex life, only because he's a Mormon and he's not supposed to be having sex in the first place. Travis and Jodi were acting as good Mormons in public, but behind closed doors, they were living a sexual life together. But the most shocking accusation the defense used was that Jodi once walked in on Travis touching himself to a picture of a little kid. They're basically calling him a pedophile. There's no other worse accusation than calling someone a pedophile. But none of it was proved. There was no indication of child pornography on his computer or anywhere else. This accusation came straight from Jodi. Jodi then says that Travis was physically abusive and recalls a time in January 2008 when he asked her for money and she didn't have it. So he slammed her on the floor, kicked her, and her finger got crooked for trying to protect herself. Then the defense plays a phone sex tape between Travis and Jodi. It's long, it's raunchy and explicit and very shocking to hear. Jodi's and Travis's friends and family were in attendance and had to listen to all of it. He portrayed Travis as the man he didn't want to be seen as publicly. But on the tape, Jodi never said she didn't like it. Now it's up to the jury to decide if it was consensual. On the last date, Jodi finally tells us what happened that night. She says she was taking pictures of Travis a few feet from the shower so the water doesn't get on the camera. At one point, the camera slipped out of her hand. That's when Travis flipped out. He body slammed her. He told her that a 5-year-old can hold the camera better than her. He chases her down the hallway. She goes into the closet and grabs his gun. She runs out of the other door from the closet and starts pointing the gun at him and then she fired the gun by accident as he was lunging at her like a linebacker. She said she blacked out and doesn't remember stabbing Travis or dragging him across the floor. She maintained her cool throughout her story, but that was about to change because the cross-examination was about to begin. The prosecutor, Martinez, and Jodi are going back and forth about her memory problems. The prosecutor then uses her own words to challenge her claims of abuse. He brings up her journal. She never wrote anything about Travis hitting her, or Travis being a pedophile, or Travis doing anything. She claims she didn't write anything negative because of the law of attraction. The prosecutor then brings up her crooked finger and how it got hurt during the murder. He counteracts this claim by showing Jodi a picture of herself with her sister in April of 2008, and her finger is fine. She says her finger is bent, but the picture proves she didn't have that injury before the day of the murder. Jodi held her own during the cross-examination, but once the prosecutor got to the events of the murder, she broke down. Jodi was on the stand for 18 days, and both the defense and the prosecution started prepping their closing arguments. During the closing argument, the prosecutor had everyone in the courtroom sit in silence for 2 minutes. That's how long it took Jodi to kill Travis. After 4 months, the case is in the hands of 12 jurors. Days went by, and everyone is just anxious, waiting for the decision. 4 long days later, and on May 8th, 2013, the jury has a verdict, and they find Jodi Arias guilty of first-degree murder. Right after the verdict, before she even knows if she will live or die, she gives an on-camera interview to a Fox local reporter in Phoenix. She says she was overwhelmed, and it was unexpected. She said death is the ultimate freedom, and she would rather have her freedom over life in prison. As sentencing, after Travis's family spoke, Jodi comes up and talks to the jury herself. She holds up the shirt that says Survivor on it. She says she created the shirt and is selling it, and all of the profits will go to the victims of domestic violence. It wasn't a good look, and it felt like a slap to the face to Travis's family. The jury comes back with a decision of life and death, but the jury says they can't decide. 8 voted for death and 4 voted for life. At this point, the judge calls for a mistrial, and they have to start all over with the sentencing and convince a new set of jurors whether she deserves life or death. A year later, everyone is back and trying to prove that Jodi deserves death. And after 6 days, the jury comes back and say they can't decide. Once again, 11 for death and 1 for life. The judge declares a mistrial again. And under the law in Arizona, prosecution only has 2 shots at getting the death penalty. So, on April 13, 2015, Jodi Arias is sentenced to natural life in prison without the possibility of parole. She avoided the death penalty, but she will be spending the rest of her life in prison for the murder of Travis Alexander. And that, guys, wraps up our first episode of Murder and Me. We've uncovered the twists and turns of the Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander's case, from love to betrayal, passion to tragedy. Join me next time as we talk about another thrilling case.